to You and the Law, hosted by the Chicago Bar Association. I'm Sadzi Oliva. I'm a member of the Chicago Bar Association, and I'm also the Chief Administrative Law Judge at the Illinois Department of Children and Family Services. Today's program is about common traffic matters, and with us today is our special guest, Attorney Mary Meehan. Welcome, Mary.
Hi, Sadzi. Thanks for having me.
So listen carefully to what we're going to talk about today, because you might not know that the average everyday traffic ticket may have more severe consequences than you know. But first, let's learn a little bit about Mary. Mary, you worked at the Attorney General's office when you started out your career. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. I started out as a criminal prosecutor at the Illinois Attorney General's office, and I was put right into felonies. So I tried felonies and prosecuted felonies, primarily state benefits fraud, forgery, theft, and these types of financial cases.
And what do you do now?
Now I'm a criminal defense attorney, and I'll do anything from the minor traffic petty offense all the way up through a felony.
So this is part one of the program, and part one is going to deal with minor traffic offenses, parking tickets, and regular traffic stops. Can you tell us a little bit about what are some ordinary traffic violations?
Some petty offenses, which are punishable by a fine only, are just the average failing to yield to a stop sign, failing to stop, running a red light, speeding, improper passing, failing to signal, and these types of things.
All right, and are those criminal in nature, or are they better known as petty offenses that only carry a fine?
Those are not criminal in nature. Those carry a fine. So those are the tickets that you should feel pretty safe to represent yourself, unless you have other prior moving violations on your driving record. Those are petty offenses that you can pretty much take care of on your own.
So what should you do if you're pulled over for a minor traffic violation?
So if you're pulled over for failing to signal or running a red light, you should just remain in the car and wait for the officer to approach you, and he'll instruct you on what to do. When an officer is approaching your vehicle, it's not really the time to start rummaging through your glove box or underneath your seat looking for your purse or your registration. Wait until the officer instructs you and follow directions.
And what do you do if you are given a citation or a ticket?
So when you're given a citation, you want to look at the citation and see if your appearance is required. It should say on the face of the ticket, you must appear, and give you a court date and a time and a location. If it doesn't, you can ask the officer, do I need to go to court for this ticket?
So what happens if you don't show up in court on the day that's on the ticket?
So not showing up for your traffic ticket can be a problem. You really do, if your ticket says you must appear, you really must appear. I do get calls, people asking me, do I have to go, do I have to take off work? The answer is yes, you have to appear. If you have, let's say you're going on a cruise, or that's the day you've scheduled surgery and you can't really get out of it, if there is something really pressing, my recommendation would be to hire an attorney to go to court for you and have an affidavit saying why you couldn't be present in court, or even a copy of your plane ticket or your cruise line or a note from your doctor. If you don't get an attorney and you fail to appear, there will be consequences.
What if you represent yourself? Is that allowed?
Yeah, you can represent yourself, and if you fail to appear and you're representing yourself, I would suggest going in at the next possible date, going back to court, and filing what's called a motion to vacate. Because when you fail to appear, a judgment is entered, fines are assessed, a conviction is entered on your record, and the court sends in a failure to appear notice to the Secretary of State, and your license can be suspended for failing to appear. So I suggest, if you don't get a lawyer, go back to court, file a motion to vacate, and ask the judge to reconsider the case and start basically from scratch.
What if you get to court and you're representing yourself and you decide, I'm really nervous about this, I don't think I can handle it myself? Can you ask for a continuance to hire an attorney?
Yes, a lot of times that happens because people think, well, I'll just handle this ticket on my own. Then they realize, well, I did get a ticket previously, or there's some other reason why when they get to court, they don't want to represent themselves. Generally, the judges in traffic court will allow you time to get a lawyer. If you decide then you do want to represent yourself, you can either plead guilty to the ticket, you can ask the judge to pass the ticket, to speak with the prosecutor about negotiating the ticket, maybe getting supervision, or if you feel you didn't do what the ticket is saying you did, you didn't commit the citation, the violation, then you can ask for a trial. Generally, the judge will pass the case and allow time for a trial.
Can you describe the trial process?
Sure. A traffic ticket trial is still a trial. It still follows the order of trial, but it's very quick. Basically, the officer is in court, and the prosecutor will begin and question the officer along the lines of the citation. You will have the opportunity to question or cross-examine the officer and try to get out your side of the story. After that, it's your turn. You have the opportunity to present your case, and if you have a witness, you have the opportunity to present your witness. The prosecutor will cross-examine you or your witness, and then that's basically the end of the case. The judge will make a decision.
What do you recommend bringing with you to court when you're going to represent yourself on a traffic matter?
So if you're representing yourself on a petty offense, a petty moving violation, you should get a copy of your driving abstract. That can be obtained at the Secretary of State for, I think it's $18 to $20, and you'll be able to see what your record entails. They're not that easy to read, so you might need a little help reading it, but most importantly, if you have a clean record, you'll be able to show the prosecutor that you don't have a driving background.
What about if you're under 21? Are there any more serious implications if you're under the age of 21?
Yes, if you receive a moving violation, a traffic ticket, that's a petty offense, when you're under 21, it is more serious. I do recommend getting an attorney because often these tickets will result in a suspension. If you receive 2 convictions, 2 moving violations within a year, and you're under 21, your license will be suspended.
Now, there's been a lot of news coverage and news stories about red light cameras. And I just want to make it clear for those tuning in that as we sit here today, which is May 24th, 2016, those red light cameras are enforceable.
That's right.
And if you get a ticket, you should follow up.
That's right. They're still enforceable. There is a big lawsuit regarding the notice around the red light enforcement tickets, but they're still enforceable. And I really don't see that ever ending. I think if it does change, it will change regarding notice. Red light tickets are photo enforceable. Red light tickets are still a go.
And it's pretty much the same process that you just described. If you want to contest it,
Yeah.
show up.
Exactly.
And what if you know ahead of time? I know we covered this a little bit, but is there anything you can do ahead of time of your traffic date to get a continuance if you can't appear on that day and you know you're not available?
If you can't appear, you're probably going to miss court if you don't get a lawyer. So I suggest that you get a lawyer to go into court for you and let the judge know why you can't appear, and either take care of the ticket in absentia, in your absence, or get a new court date. If you still fail to appear, the conviction will be entered, but you do have time to go back in and vacate that conviction.
So we talked about under the age of 21. What about if you're over the age of 21? What happens when you have multiple violations, and how many do you have to have before your license is suspended?
Yes, if you have multiple traffic convictions and you're over 21, you can be suspended as well. It's if you have 3 moving violation convictions within 24 months, within a 2-year period, your license will be suspended. That's why it is really important, especially if you think you've had a few tickets in the last couple of years, to hire a lawyer.
All right, well, that concludes part 1 of You and the Law, minor traffic violations. Stay tuned for part 2, where we'll discuss more serious traffic violations with our guest attorney, Mary Meehan.